This is the earliest photograph of Mr. Kelly, taken in 1991. I was 4 and he was 2. Little did I know the long life he and I would share together.
I know. Go ahead and open it.
Yucky kitty! Oh, you have smell in there.
What cow?
I was too young to remember anything before my time with him. Prior to this last year, I never knew what life felt like without him.
Then I call him baby bumper kitty. He's a baby kitty.
Oh, well, but I don't know where you live.
No, he's a kitty at me.
Mm-hmm.
Daddy, I can't.
Come on, Coach, let's be dancing. Come on out. Get your little butt out of here.
Throughout the 1990s, we both grew up together. We became best buddies. These formative years created a unique bond between us.
Environment. What are you doing, you wacko? Hey, furball. Hey, furball. Kitty. Kitty. Hello.
Any and every holiday, he was there, sniffing around, attacking spare wrapping paper, and then running away for an unexplainable reason. He had a lot of energy in his younger years.
No, you got a phone. Oh.
I knew even then that we had something special, and as the years went on, that consciousness continued. I was getting older, and naturally so was he. He never showed signs of slowing down, though. Life began changing as the gap between early childhood and young adolescence widened. We had years of great memories at my old house that we grew up in, but it was time to move on. And as in any great change, a person goes through a mental checklist of what said changes were taking place.
Mr. Kelly, I love you.
All I could keep thinking about as a young teen was how as soon as we shut those doors, we would never go back. When we moved, Mr. Kelly was already in his teens. He began showing signs of his age and, as a result, began getting knots in his coat. Routinely, we'd have to get him shaved. The summer heat was a lot to endure, so maybe he secretly appreciated that ridiculous lion cut he received. Mr. Kelly loved the outdoors. He never tried to escape and would even follow me around, trotting through the grass just to be close by. We spent many warm days around the yard, and even though it was just a year since we last did, it's a very nostalgic memory. Whenever we'd leave the state for several days, Mr. Kelly would miss us. He would nearly lose his voice meowing while we were away.
The butterfly sailed on the breeze, past a field of barbed wire trees, where golden dragons chased around.
Our time was drawing near, and the thought that always weighed on my mind grew heavier as the years went by.
Plant 2 black orchids in a box.
Mr. Kelly began suffering with kidney problems later on in his life. The IAMS pet food poisoning in 2007 likely heightened these issues. One afternoon he collapsed while running up the stairs. I thought he died as his legs curled inward, and I felt my heart beat right out of my chest as I cradled him. By some stroke of good fortune, he snapped out of it and was able to recover, at least for the time being. From that day on, his eventual passing grew paramount in my mind. The inevitable was coming, I just didn't know when.
Mr. Kelly.
I found myself filming him for what eventually would be this memorial video. I contemplated how to do his memory and our bond justice.
Hey, give me that. Beef?
Mr. Kelly turned 20 years old in 2009. I never thought he'd live that long. The life expectancy of a typical cat is usually between 12 and 14 years. Around this time, he began having attacks that hindered his ability to walk properly. He often fell over and needed my assistance even walking into another room. It was so hard to watch him struggle to even move, but after a few hours he thankfully was back to his semi-old self.
They found it hard to stay awake. The pharaoh played a major and watched 9 cats dance on the moon. I didn't know what all this meant. I didn't know I was sent. I threw 5 clocks down on my bed.
In 2010, these attacks only happened once or twice. His kidneys, though, were said to be in pretty bad shape, so the writing was on the wall.
Sequin tears began to fall.
He turned 21 in March and was there for my 23rd birthday, but by June 24th, 2010, it was his time.
How I bleed now you're gone. In my dreams I see you.
Mr. Kelly started not cleaning himself. He all but completely stopped eating. He picked a spot to lay in for the next week or so, and then after a short while his eyes were only half open, and he could barely walk. A decision was made. It had to be.
Yearn to stay, but the strength I always loved you. Finally,
Minutes later, as I kneeled over and we shared one last long, uninterrupted gaze, he left me. His memory, his name, his home, who he was, who I was, who we were, it all vanished into thin air. My heart fragmented into a million jagged pieces. He was buried in a blanket he used to sleep on.
I knew you could never stay. In the early morning light, after a silent, peaceful night, you tell you how I feel in my dreams. I can hold you and it feels so real, but I still feel the pain. I still feel your love. I still feel the pain. I still feel your love. Somehow I knew you could never stay, and somehow I knew you would leave me. And in the early morning light, after a silent, peaceful night.
June 24th, 2010 was the worst day of my life. Friends and girls came and went, that was usual, but he was always there, as was my family. This video was 1 full year in the making, and today, June 24th, 2011, the anniversary of his death, I'm sharing it with the world. Life changes. You can let the hurt consume you, or you can consume the hurt and convert it into something positive. I love and miss you, Mr. Kelly. You are my best friend. Without you, there'd be no me.